posted in my last video that most times going through the marriage checklist, I decided to divide it into two ways. That is the financial, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, societal checklist. That is, in terms of putting it under different sections. And today we're going to be talking about it in general concept of life. That is, when you have actually checked all those sections, there are some tiny details again that sometimes we overlook and we think it is not actually a problem, but it is. And that's what I'm going to be talking about here, the marriage checklist. And the first thing is that I've actually understood when it comes to selecting a spouse, the channel is actually dedicated to women like me. But sometimes I think men can actually tap into the idea. When it comes to choosing a spouse, there is one thing that is very paramount that if it is not there, every other aspect of your life would depend so much on it. And eventually, that marriage will eventually not work. And that is the first thing, which is life goals and ambition. If you're choosing a partner or a spouse that your goals and ambition does not match, then I think that is a very red flag you should take note of. But I mean goals and ambition. Most times I usually use myself as an example on this channel because I have actually created this channel out of my own journey to be able to help women like me that are falling into this type of category. Now, based on my own journey and lifestyle, normally one thing that is very constant is change. But eventually both of you will grow into a pattern in such a way that if you're not growing together, you're going to be growing apart. And as regards to this life goals and ambition, it can navigate your life to different direction. Now, during my own journey, I'm this type of person that normally at the very stage of my life, the development stage, I've actually wanted to talk, to speak, and teach people. So because of that, I've been teaching over the years. And eventually I realized that I don't just want to teach students in school, I want to teach adults. I want to stand in front of people and speak. I want to write, I want to make videos, I want to put myself out there. Well, I realized that my ex-husband does not actually have that kind of goal. He does not want a woman or a lady that stands in front of people to talk. He does not want a woman that can actually create money from her own idea. He does not actually want a woman that has a promising career for herself. He wants somebody that can actually be living under his own influence. Now that is goals and ambition. He is a teacher, he was teaching in school, and he does not actually want a woman that sees life beyond where it is. When you're the type of person that you have a kind of picture for yourself, you want two kids, you want three children, you want to own a company, you want to run a business, you want to stand in front of people, you want to dress like this. In later future, you want to build places, you want to explore places, you want to go to different places and do a lot of things with your life, with your money. Your goals are not matching. It is a red flag, and I think it is one thing we ladies and women should consider when it comes to choosing a spouse. And I think the second thing is career driven and purpose. Like I said, my ex-husband is not the type of person that is actually career driven. He does not actually see the need to have a particular promising career, like doesn't even like the topic. So when you are now talking from the aspect of you want to have this, you are aspiring this, you want to achieve this, you want to build this kind of life, you want to have this kind of experience with people, you want to, you have a kind of picture, you want to be a businesswoman, people are calling you yes ma, people are, giving you regard. My ex is always intimidated. And I think this is not a good place for you to be because when a guy does not see you as somebody wanting to have a career, it shows that he's so scared of what you're going to become when you eventually step into your spotlight. And I think that's one of the greatest fear my ex-husband had. He can't handle the kind of woman I'm going to become because of his fear, because of his insecurity issues. Some of these men know that when you step into your spotlight, they won't stand a chance because they know that at that point you're going to be living in your true self, and that your true self is not going to be accommodating somebody like them. And because you have actually underestimated what you can do, having and living in your true self does not mean you can accommodate whoever you choose to accommodate, as long as the person is adding to your purpose in life and not taking you away from your real sense of living. So a kind of man that is not career driven or that does not see the reason for a man to be career driven or have a purposeful life, then I think you need to have a routine. And I think the other thing is that resilience and perseverance. When it comes to having a marriage checklist, is your husband or your husband to be or your spouse resilient and can persevere through the time? Which means, for example, now during the course of you probably you're still talking and you're still trying to make ends meet, you are the type of person that probably your work demands you, go away for some days or some weeks. And do we understand that when there is too much space in relationships, it can give room for different inadequacy. But when you two have a kind of understanding and notions about life, I believe you should be on a greater spot of understanding yourself, and things should go on smoothly. So if it's the type that always sees that as he is the man that's supposed to be going away for, what if my job warrants that? And I don't think I can actually leave my job because I'm going to get married. Because when I leave this job, how sure am I that I'm going to get something similar or even close to this? And even if I get, is it going to be the same pay? Is it going to be the same experience? Of all the experience I've gathered over the years, I'm due for promotion, this one and that one. Is it the type that is resilient enough that will allow you be, you probably at the times of the month when you're not feeling like okay, or you don't really feel like working so hard, you just want to be on your own, you just want to take some time off? Is it the guy that understands all that part of being a woman? Is it the type that is persevering, that is able to go through the time with you, even the time that you are not really okay and you're not doing too fine? Is not the type that is expecting so much of you, even when you are so down on your feet? And I think the next thing is societal expectations and the kind of fixes that people usually try to do. And I think I mentioned that in the previous part that I mentioned about societal checklist. Is it the type that is always mounting the societal pressure on you? Now you've gone to work since morning, you're coming back this time of the day. How am I supposed to eat? Why won't you eat? What happened to you entering the kitchen to cook? In fact, I'm even the one that should be hungry because I'm coming home so late and I'm expecting that my husband or my husband to be would have actually prepared something that I can actually quickly stumble on. And you should understand for me that I have a lot of things I'm working on. Some husband will always pinpoint the societal points to you to make you feel so weak and inferior that you just have to abide by those rules. They will pinpoint the role you should be taking in society. People say you shouldn't do this. As a woman, you're supposed to stay in the house, to cook, to wash, to take care of the kids. You can't enter the kitchen. You know, they're always using societal influences just to sabotage you and put you in control. Is it that type of person? So these are the things you actually need to check. And also, is family lifestyle. Sometimes, I mentioned in the previous video that sometimes some of the lifestyle they had in their family always influence them. My ex-husband would tell me that my dad sent my mom out of the house for months because they were having an argument. And when my mom understood the message, that was when my dad now take her back to the house. So it shows that he as well can send his wife out of the house to correct her. So by the time she's back to her senses, then he will bring her back to the house. Imagine that notion. Some of us are carrying the burden, or some days are carrying the burden of their family into their relationship, and that is actually affecting them. My dad usually beats my mom and spank her, so I don't think there is anything wrong with that. My ex-husband actually did that to me as well. So sometimes, is his family lifestyle influencing his decision? Is he the type of person that can't decide on his own? He has to go through his mom, his dad, his sisters, his brothers. He can't think for himself. Or he's a mama's boy, he's a daddy's boy. He can't even spend without the influence of his parent. His parent know how much is coming in, entering, going. He knows how much is giving you. You know, have you ever tried to go through the family lifestyle? Is he having all these influences on himself? And if it does, I think it's time for you to just recheck and rethink your decision towards this guy. And I think the next thing is childhood baggage. Some of us, or some of these guys, apart from the family lifestyle, there are some baggages they brought from their early childhood. For example, now my ex, I know he has experienced some tough times of life, which has actually ripped away his emotional concern. I do tell him then that he needs to see a therapist. That some of the trauma he has carried from childhood has affected him and is still affecting his lifestyle. But then he was not taking me serious until I think when I left, he said he went for some which I don't even want him. I didn't care to know like that. He only mentioned it when he was trying to, sabotage me again like he usually do. Not known for him that I've actually grown past that level. I told him that some of the things you've had when you were small because his mom did not actually take care of them when they were small. And these are the things I want you to watch out for. Some children or some guys that they don't really grow under the influence of their mother or their father, they tend to have some shortcomings, especially when the mother or father is living on a very, very wrong notion. He has had to go through life on his own without the influence of his mother and father, and he has been able to take up some decisions of his life on his own that he does not have any sympathy or emotional concern for people. And most times he expresses that to me, and I do tell him that I think you need to see a therapist or a mentor or something so that you can release that childhood baggage. Some people they are so arrogant because of the way they've been brought up. Some have nonchalant attitude because of the way they've been brought up. Some have a lot of mental retardation because of the way they've been brought up. But if this guy is not showing any sign that he wants to heal that part of himself, or is not showing any sign that he needs attention, he needs a therapist to help him heal that part of himself, then I think you should have a rethink, because you are not going to be the one that will babysit him or help him go through that part of his life. He has to be willing to go through that part of his life and see that part of his life healed. So childhood baggage is one important thing that actually reflects onto men when they eventually grow older. Either the way they are spending, the way they talk to you, the way they approach you, the way they some don't even have any emotional concern. Because right from time they don't feel that connection from their parents, and they feel it is proper and right for them to behave that way to any lady. Some even find it so comforting to beat because they feel that it's an act of making them feel like a king, help them relieve the tension of any lady that is trying to see them so less and inferior. And I think the next thing is that you need to be able to check the parenting and union stability. If you are going to marry any guy, if he's not there, if he's not present, not just a husband, but being a father, a husband or a guy that sees you working and your child is crying, or you've seen some things, instance, probably maybe you're not even married yet. Maybe you went to your his relative place, or you go to your relative place and the sister is working and the child is crying. He can't carry the baby, pamper, cuddle, fix the diaper, petty things, or even make food. I don't think there's anything wrong with a guy making food for a baby. It is your child. This child is coming to this world from two of you. You two should be able to put in the effort. It's not just the work of the mother. Or in the midnight, you open your eyes for 3, 4 hours and he can't even get up. Help you do something with this child. You know, there are some husbands that when it comes to parenting, they run away from him. They just don't want to experience it. They prefer to give you money just for you to be able to get up on it. Some will even tell the wife that she has to leave her work for 3 years to be able to nurture the children. What happens to my career within the space of 3 years? Can't I work for home? I understand that I want to do this out of my own given mind, but I'm not willing to do that. I also have a target. I've set some 3 years, 4 years, 5 year goals for myself, which having a baby, I don't think it should disrupt that. I can work from home and also manage my things. They can't even come to comprehend the fact that they are now a father. They need to see you for that. They can't help out in the house. You need to discuss about parenting. How do you do this thing? And if things don't work out, I'm a believer of divorce if things are not working out. Not because you just want to have a freedom in lifestyle, because things are not working, I need your mental stability. So if things are not working out, what are going to be your decisions on these emotions? How do you co-parent? How do you cope? These are the things you need to discuss. And also, inferiority complex and controlling behavior. If you're seeing a guy that is always trying to dictate to you, controlling you, what to put on Monday, on Tuesday, even when you want to go on video call, he will tell you that the background is not convincing enough. Or probably you're going on outing with some of his friends and he will tell you that the clothes you're putting on is not worthy. Perhaps it's not even giving you money to do all those things and it's just dictating to you, controlling you, putting you here and there. He will just bump on your phone and call you at any time. I want to see you, please come over to me. He's not even talking as if he's persuading, just I'll see you in 4 p.m. Meet me at so place. Not even willing to listen or to entertain your concern that probably you're busy or you're working towards something. I think these are the things that you need to actually discuss at table. And I think one of those things that I think you need to discuss when it comes to marriage checklist is sexual lifestyle. You see, when it comes to sexual lifestyle, this is one thing that is important. I'm not really a fan of having sexual lifestyle, sexual intimacy before marriage. But at the same time, that does not mean you have to boycott the relevant points. You have to be able to talk about these things in an open way, so as for both of you to know what you are getting into. Now, at the times of the month, I have a particular thing I do with my body, and at some time I feel that I might not actually be in the mood to carry out this obligation. And I believe you, as my man, you need to understand this instant. Not the person that will be controlling me, that has to make it feel as if it is very important for me. That is, if I don't do it, I will be so be in a state whereby some people say the angels will be cursing you because you say no to your husband. But I think this angel will understand that I'm not just saying no. I'm saying no because probably health-wise I'm not okay. Or I'm trying to control some things in my body that I don't even tell him, or he's not willing to listen. So you need to talk about your sexual lifestyle. How do you want to go about this thing? Are you the guy that will be traveling for months and years without coming back? What do you expect me to be doing? How do you expect me to live a healthy sexual lifestyle when you are away for so many months? So I think these are the things that will actually address when it comes to any lady that is looking for marriage. Marriage checklist goes beyond just categorizing all this thing because it is one thing for individual. Like I do hear in my friend's school that every patient is an individual, and what is going on with you might not actually be the driving force for another family. It might just be something as simple as something as tiny as little conversation, and something as communication and the likes of them. So I think as time goes on, as you're exploring these concepts and ideas, you begin to understand the things that need to be adjusted on and the things that shouldn't even bother you, and eventually take a decision from there. Sometimes these factors is not actually the entire thing, but these factors actually marks an impact. It creates a kind of lasting thought about the things that should be in place and the things that you can easily let go. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you red flags in relationship, and I'm also going to be dividing this into two sections, just like I did for marriage checklist. And these are the things that I've actually noticed over the years when it comes to relationship and marriage, and how you can actually avoid these things, or how you can actually notice this thing before they turn into a bigger issue. Until I see you in my next one. Bye.